Welcome into This Week in Missouri Politics Midweek Update number 2. We have Friday edition. It has been so busy that we have to do this twice. The news is just too fast. If you have a weekly TV show, it is almost impossible to keep up with Missouri political news right now. So here we are back for a second time. In 2 days, I'm going to start doing it on Wednesday. Wednesday's going to kind of be the theoretical day we do these. But I was in Jupiter, Florida. I was learning about the Cardinals so I can give you key fanboy updates of someone that has an obsessive issue with the Cardinals. Josh Hawley, the news of the day. Oh my God. I want to know out there, who predicted Josh Hawley would just throw open the saloon doors and say, "I'm in charge here. There's a new sheriff." I mean, my God, the dude had the deep voice going. He was in command. You talk about who won the day or the week or whatever. Josh Hawley won the day. You saw a guy. And look, I think it's a very fair point. Claire McCaskill is an imposing figure to go up against. I mean, talented, knows her stuff. She is an absolute force of nature in Missouri politics. Could Josh Hawley go toe-to-toe with her? Yeah, no, after today that he could. There's no two ways about that. He could make that happen. He came in and just said, "Hey, I'm in charge here. I'm investigating this. It's not a confide thing." And he explained. He actually explained what other folks were trying to explain, and that is that he had been working towards the law. The law just didn't work. So he finally laid that out. Look, it was better coming from him. I've always thought if you should stop digging, leave it alone. He kind of redressed it a little bit, and then he just came in and said, "I'm here. I'm in charge. My office is willing to help everybody." He mentioned Jay Barnes half a dozen times. Said he's willing to help Kim Gardner. The guy just came in and said, "I am the man who is running things. You come to me, and I've got this." And he did it in a way that was confident, and in a way, if there's anybody that thought he couldn't stick up to Claire McCaskill, well, you didn't think that by 10:30. And if there's anybody in Missouri that thought he was going to be some stool pigeon, Jane Duker, then I think she should be getting her appetite for crow in order, because Josh Hawley came in and said, "I'm the man. I'm the one in charge here. I've got this." Interesting things. Let's start from the top. He destroyed the Soros theory. If you thought that somehow George Soros and a pack of Democrats of Jimmy Carter's great nephew was like, we're gonna, Josh Hawley just took that and just destroyed it. I mean, if you're still saying this is a George Soros thing after Hawley's press conference, you, sir, are an idiot and you deserve what you get. Hawley just demolished it. Also, he came in there and just said, "Hey, I've got this. I'm in charge." He made the warning like 4 times. He couldn't have been more clear. If you don't comply with my subpoenas, if you don't do anything to get in my way, you're gonna have an investigation yourself. And I'm gonna tell you, you don't want the guy that I saw at that press conference investigating you. That dude looked like he had it together. Honestly, I will say this. So people have talked, before we go on, there's one thing I want to put in. I think you may be watching this because you may want to look between the lines. I'm a believer that Hawley, I've always believed Eric Greitens would never resign. I just don't. I mean, part of it is he's not Jay Nixon. He didn't spend his life working in this. He doesn't appreciate the institution. He doesn't like any of these people. He clearly doesn't respect any of the folks in state government. I never thought he'd quit, but after watching that press conference, yeah, I think that maybe for the first time, you remember the Friday, kind of back in January, there was all these rumors he was going to leave at noon. I was always telling you, no, I don't see it. Maybe it happens, but I don't see it. After Josh Hawley's press conference, he did not look like a guy that was incompetent. He didn't look like a guy that didn't have things. He didn't look like a guy that was going to be scared or run off. I kind of got the sense Josh Hawley is here to play and to probably do things he needs to do. And I think maybe for the first time, you probably saw, if Eric Greitens ends up resigning the office of governor, I think the real day that process began to unfold was probably today, and it was probably Josh Hawley's, just the whole demeanor, the whole in-control demeanor that happened. If he doesn't fulfill his promises, he will look like such a fool. I don't think Josh Hawley's a fool. I think he's here, and I think he's going to. I think if you are concerned that there was corruption in and around the campaign for governor, in and around your state government, you should feel better that cruption will be outed after today. And so my prediction would be that if he does resign, that process began with Josh Hawley stepping in and saying, "I'm in control here." It says in a Democrat thing, it's not a Soros thing. It's that I'm the man and I'm in charge. Let's talk about the confide. Oh, man. look, yeah, the Confide thing didn't look good. There's just, I mean, you can't honestly sit here and look into Facebook and Twitter and say, hey, Josh Hawley looked in control today. If you can't admit the Confide investigation did not go well, and just continuing to try to relitigate it was not a good look. However, he said he would reopen it. He's always said consistently, and I've tried to communicate that to you. That was my thought. I work with the Sunshine Law quite often, so I wanted to tell you what I thought about it. I do think that Hawley has said the Sunshine Law doesn't offer us what we need to do this. But then he said he has a Sunshine Law update. David Gregory, he called him out by name, Gene Evans in the House, two kind of South St. Louis County legislators. They have a Sunshine Law reboot. I believe Caleb Brown's working on it in the Senate. It is just absolutely, I mean, he said, if you give me the power, if you pass the law, I'll reopen the Confide investigation. I don't know what more you want from the guy. I mean, yeah, he was dealt a bad hand, maybe didn't handle it that well. He straight up said, but then he goes, Jay Barnes' committee does have subpoena power. They can open the investigation up, and he sent them all his files. It was a stellar performance. I mean, you guys know me. If you follow my Twitter feed, I was a Schaefer guy. Wasn't the biggest Holly fan, but I'm just going to tell you, if you somehow are criticizing the performance today, it's a partisan thing, and you just aren't fair and can't give credit where it's due. The Confiding Investigative, see, I'll tell you this, two people, and I got their permission to at least just reference them. Two employees in the governor's office told me since that press conference that, yeah, I mean, did you believe they did confide and only talked about minor scheduling? And here's the thing. It's a little unfair just to dump on them. When you're working in the governor's office or in a high political office, it's 24/7. Everything you do, your personal life is all, you work so much and you work so hard that you don't have time to do other stuff. So, of course, all you talk about is work because you literally work 18, 20 hours a day. It is, when you work in a governor's office, that's just what you're signing up for. And it is this office, these are hardworking guys and women in that office. They work as hard as the folks from Nixon or the folks from Blunt or Holton. To think they were using this app and not doing more than scheduling is ridiculous. No, it's like the Ethics Commission thing. No one bought that story. Now, clearly that story's been blown to hell. But even with the Confide thing, two people have told me they did much. Now, they didn't say that there was nothing illegal they talked about on there, but they certainly talked about more than just minor scheduling stuff. So I'm a believer that is that will be, if Jay Barnes calls them in under subpoena, they will come and they will probably say the truth, which was that they talked about a lot more than just some scheduling stuff on their Confide app. It is the totality of scandal is reaching a point that now you saw Josh Hawley step in today. It is my belief that he probably sees the totality of things here and is like, I'm going to step up and do my job. And I think he did it in a big way today. The House committee, they canceled a meeting today. Interesting. Everything this committee does, obviously, when you have a committee like this, everything about it, every little detail is going to be scrutinized. They canceled today. I believe at one point they were thinking they were going to try and have the governor come in. I don't know why the governor would resist appearing. His lawyer wrote a letter and says, we are looking forward to complying fully with the committee. He knows the truth. He knows what he did. Again, it's a very simple thing. Did you take a picture? That's creepy as it can be. Probably, question if you want that person to be governor. Did you steal the fundraising list? I don't know the answer to that, but boy, it's somebody stole the fundraising list. And number three, did you hit a woman? And he knows the answers to those questions. If the answer is yes, probably should have done the right thing a while ago. If the answer is no, then there you go. Go in and but I don't know why he would have any problem testifying like everybody else does. It is a little bit of an entitled nature of how he's done a lot of different things. Let me just say, one moment here. I just picked up a new email. Let me grab it real quick. This was just sent out by Spencer Kyman from the Mission Continues. This guy is clearly protecting his charity. He's straight up been very clear that the Mission Continues did not give that out. So this email, I believe, came out after his after the press conference today. It's from the Mission Continues. The president, Spencer Kyman. It's final thought. As we have said from the beginning and reiterate here, we abstain from political activities. We deeply value the trust you place in us to accomplish our mission. The mission continues did not provide nor authorize the use of our donors' information to any persons or groups for political campaign purposes, nor did we promote Governor Greitens for political office. Well, they might not have meant to, but I mean, our work is far from over. We're not stopping or hesitating or pausing. No matter the distractions that come our way, we will continue to push forward together, empowering fellow veterans, volunteers, families, and communities around the country through the power of service. Spencer Kimpton, the president of the mission, continues. Bottom line there is, they're saying they didn't buy books for him to give out at events. They're saying that they did not give the fundraising list over. And this is a guy that seems like he's fighting for his charity. If it turns out that they did, and looks like they're going to stand behind their position that it was taken illegally. So we'll see what happens. But I do think of all the things that there's a myriad of just kind of sleaze around the situation. That is a straight up thing. Did you take the list? Because clearly you didn't have permission. It's a very easy question to answer, and I think you'll find that the governor's folks have wanted to make things as complex as possible because the straightforward answers are probably not good for them. Let's talk about the other thing, the federal government. Josh Hawley was asked directly if the federal government contacted you, and he didn't say no. He said, I can't talk about that. It's not a yes, but it's not a no. I assume if they haven't, he could have said no. He chose not to. That either means they have, or he's, choosing to not. There's nothing that says he couldn't have said. They haven't contacted him if they have not. Got a question popped up here. The next thing. I think the next thing is not another woman. It's that foreign money may have came through some of these 501c4s. I think that'll be the next thing that's brought up. Claire McCaskill, bad day for her. Not good. This is you did not want to see a confident, deep baritone bass guy in control of himself, in control of the situation. He answered every question until nobody had any more. You didn't want to see that. That's not good. If you're her, you're on the phone to probably to Kim Gardner saying, hey, you better speed stuff up, because I'll just tell you, if Josh Hawley comes in and works alongside a Todd Richardson, a Jay Barnes, it actually does drain the swamp, actually does do the things that he said. If you're concerned that maybe there's a way that Donald Trump drags the Republican brand down, well, you can't call a guy partisan. It's like Claire McCaskill. She's been independent. She ran against a governor of her own party. Josh Hawley may put a governor of his own party out of office, like straight up. So bad day for her. I mean, and I get it. We talked about this yesterday. Her strategy has been, since nothing non-Greitens can cut through, to tie Hawley to Greitens, and the confide thing was a gift that was given to her. Now, but doing that, Hawley had the trump card. He could have went after him. Looks like he's going to. Not good for her. I don't know what you do. I mean, look, when you have a political problem, you should call Claire McCaskill, because she's one of the smartest people you'll ever find at it. But there's a definite political issue she's got, because what if Hawley does this? What if he actually comes in, does his job, works alongside of Jay Barnes, and drains the swamp? I don't want to run against that guy. So it sort of kind of goes back. It goes back twofold. Let's talk about the players here. But first, I have to get a drink. We don't do cups in our office. We do Steins. Of course, it's water. It's nice water. You'll notice from that craft brewery over on Pestalozzi Street in St. Louis, my favorite craft brewer of all time, Anheuser-Busch. Question real quick before we dig into that. The bots. I got a bot theory for you. Look, I get bots. The governor has tons of bots, so it won't surprise you. They come and whatever I do, they'll reference me and, call me dirty hillbilly or fat or something. Mostly true things, actually, they say. But, let me give you the trick to bots. Bots, just like my friend Jane Duker, who's now, I guarantee you after watching that press conference, she was like, I'm going to have to eat crow. I'm going to have to go to West Butler County, to Fawn's Farm and eat crow. By the way, Jane, hot sauce or ketchup? I never got the answer what you want on your crow. It's my belief that just ignore them. Just ignore them. I mean, what do you care? I think Facebook and Twitter, frankly, the biggest problem they have going forward is the bots. And I think that when you see somebody that has 50 likes, click on it. It'll be a bunch of bots that don't even matter. So it is the biggest problem they have. They know it. So I would just go through and ignore the things. Don't get in a fight with somebody that you don't believe to be a real person. I don't even follow people I don't believe to be real, except for Lilburn Broggs. I do follow Lilburn Broggs because he does make fun of me too. and I like it because the jokes are funny. Let's talk about the players here. We wrote a piece about it. Mark Bobek's still the chairman of the board. He's still running things. If you want to talk about the guy, one of the few people that could probably walk in the room and say, hey, you know what, time to step aside. Bobek's probably that guy. He negotiates. He pretty much picks the judges in St. Louis. He is the one that probably has the most ability to step in and end this embarrassment for the state. Ed Dowd, I mean, hey, he's a big timer. I mean, he lots and lots of money. Todd Graves has to rattle that can a lot to keep that money flowing into his firm. It's been astonishing to me to watch how he attacks just viciously the first African American woman that's ever been elected circuit attorney. He definitely treats her differently than Josh Hawley. I will see. Maybe he's going to say Josh Hawley has the worst legal whatever in 40 years of practice. I don't know. It's interesting to me. The judge did not side with him. He did not say that. Just for all you, for the pervert audience out there, tonight you cannot take pictures of a woman you're having sex with without her consent. That legal theory Mr. Dowd had was shot down. So don't do if you thought that was legal because you're the governor's people say that's legal. That's not legal. You cannot do that. If you're that dumb and thought that, then you're welcome. I'm glad you watched. Kim Gardner, look, I mean, she's in the hot seat. No one's in a hotter seat than her. She's got the whole world on her shoulders. It's my understanding they may have some cooperation of a picture. I have no idea if they have it or not. I do think she gave Josh Hawley some lead on this. Mission continues. This happened in the city. I mean, this is where Greitens chose to live. He's from the city of St. Louis, Central West End. So she has every right to go after the mission continues and has let Hawley do it. I think that she's giving him some rope. I think she would step in. I think that's a little bit of pressure on him. Jay Barnes, I mean, look, the race is on. They're going to try. I just have to think there's not a more Eric Greitens move in the world than to try to keep Barnes' report from coming out till his trial's over. I know they were trying to do that previously. This report it'll have the truth in it. I don't even know that it'll have stuff that runs him from office. I really have no clue what'll be in it. But if you know Jay Barnes, you know it'll be the straight shot. So, and it's true. They know, and I think that if you want to tick him off, continue to see the governor not testify before his committee because that's a pretty clear sign of what's up here. I bet you the whole debate on whether or not he appears before the committee is one of those. Well, your lawyers say do X, but your political people say do Y. So what are you going to do? I have no idea what he ends up doing, but I would say that if I was him and I had nothing to hide, I'd just come tell the truth to Jay Barnes, right? Just like everybody else. Todd Richardson, nobody in the world has ever had to clean up as much mess as Todd has. You have the very good fortune of having one of the most honorable people to ever serve in state government over this. He's still involved. Al Watkins, if you can't get a quote out of Al Watkins, my God, the most quotable attorney I've ever seen in my life. It's I really think the whole press association should get him like a bouquet of canned goods and flowers and fruits and vegetables for Christmas because he's a quote machine. The new people, Scott Rosenblum, hey now, maybe who the governor should have called first, right? I understand the inside scoop around their people is the governor didn't want to have Rosenblum because he didn't want to look guilty. But let me just say this. As a person, and the governor knows what I'm talking about. Guys like me and the governor, we don't say bad stuff about Scott Rosenblum. No. Big fan, love what he does. 314-862-4332 if you're in a situation like the governor. I'd probably make that my first call. It's to Mr. Rosenblum's office. You will hear nothing but very nice things coming from me about Mr. Rosenblum. Susan McGraw. This is a weird one. So I get the point of you need to have a female make some of these arguments like that you can photograph women nude without their consent. You probably want that coming from a woman. In this case, they got a SLU law professor. Jesus Christ. So a college that's having an issue with how women are treated on campus, one of their professors is saying you could photograph women nude without their consent. Gee, you think that might look a little bad? But let me just give you the 1,000 overlapping things. And I think this is where the court plan can start to be questioned. So she's up, her husband's a lawyer in the city of St. Louis, one of these judges that's now a judge. She wants to be one. Mr. Dowd's over, his brother's over one of the circuits. His wife's on one of these committees. Now she's a law professor, wants to be a judge. It is the murkiest thing ever. But look, I don't know. I'm sure she's a very good attorney, a very smart person. And I also think, I truly believe you should be able to make I don't trust the government at all. Not at all. You should make every defense you can make, but the people of Missouri deserve for you to make that defense out of office, not have their governor hiring SLU law professors say you can photograph women without their consent naked. It's nuts. And if you're SLU, not the look you probably want right now. Probably not the look you're looking to have. But good for them. Ty Graves, Catherine Hanaway, two very good people. It's, maybe more Catherine has a history and one of probably the biggest reputation in the state for standing up for women and fighting for some injustices that have come through sex trafficking and things. I think she's just taking care of some of her old campaign staffers that went to work for the governor. They probably do want an independent. Catherine Hanaway would have no problem defending them, even if that didn't help the governor. I do think, but I mean, if she does get into defending his basement activities, then yeah, it will cut across that. We'll see what happens. Sean Drogue, farmer from the Boot Heel. Look, I know the interview looked bad. He's a nice guy, and he's over a committee to try to raise money. He's not raising. I mean, he put a check. He's not raising the money. He's a good dude. I'm sure he was a true believer, man. He really believed in Eric Greitens. He believed in the stuff from the commercials and the speeches. He bought in, and a lot of people did. So don't look down your nose that one old white trash West Butler County hillbilly's been telling you, but a lot of you bought in at one point. So don't look down your nose at Sean Drogue. Ron Weiser. Okay, this has been my point from the whole time. Why would some random guy in Michigan care who the governor is? I personally don't care at all who the governor is. Not in any way possible. Don't care. I hope they have a great governor. Good for them. But I certainly wouldn't give you $300,000 because I don't care. We don't have $300,000. I wouldn't give you $30. Don't care who the governor is. Why does this guy care who the governor of Missouri is? It's a consistently odd situation. He's the dude, some big Republican in Michigan he's actually raising the money to pay down. So bizarre. I am for Missouri elections from Missourians. I actually think you should only be able to collect money. You should collect money from anybody you want as long as they're from Missouri. Big fan of Missouri. Missourians care about Missouri. Michigan people don't care. I don't care who the governor of Michigan is. Just do not care. Don't care. Don't know why they care about who our governor is. Don't know why people from San Francisco care about who our governor is. Would love for all of the carpetbaggers to buzz off. Which is why people that you might turn your nose up at somebody working for the governor. I hope these Missouri consultants will be able to take all of these carpetbaggers' money. Every dollar the carpetbaggers have taken out of Missouri, I hope these folks fleece them for the whole thing. Judge Burleson, all accounts a good dude. Pretty much was knocking down some very favorable judgments for Dowd Bennett. A lot of connections to that law firm, no doubt. I think, if he would have dismissed this case or set the trial, he set the trial on a very aggressive day anyway. If he were then to go kick it out or move it up, then people would have just started, what the hell? That didn't happen. I think those were long shots. I think people are making more of the connection to Dowd Bennett than should be. I think, look, if you're watching this, you're a political guy. I think this Judge Burleson was a political guy like us. I think he's in this spot. I think he's going to do the best he can. Look at Lance Ito. No matter what you do, if you're the judge in this case, you're going to get grief. Now that Greitens didn't trust the public, he wants a judge to decide his fate. It's even worse. That was worse. Nobody was that worse for than Judge Burleson. He's going to have to make this decision on his own. He is in a terrible spot. I think it's fair to give him a wider berth. Some folks are going to be obsessed with his connections to the criminal defense firm that's representing as Al Weiss as the defendant governor. But look, I think that if he does things and makes rulings that are way out there and way bizarre, there's going to be a lot of people that are like, what the connections, and I just think up to now that is cheap shots, and you're really trying to hit a guy that's done. It's almost like Todd. If you're trying to hit Jay Nixon through this, it's because you don't like Jay Nixon, and it's not fair. He did nothing but try to serve the state honorably. I don't think it's his fault that his law firm is now mired in the governor's basement, but I don't think it's fair to hit him over decisions he didn't make. You want to go back and look through his time as governor and criticize, fine, but he didn't do anything to dishonor the state of Missouri. Chris Boback, son of Mark Boback, he's the registered agent for the Greitens group, and look, you would need like the whole whiteboard, all the money that came through here, but Greitens would go give speeches, kind of talk about his time in the military, talk about his helping veterans, and they wouldn't pay the charity for that. They'd pay the Greitens group. This guy's a registered agent, Mark Bobak's son. Interesting. The whole thing is the web of this stuff is amazing. It is St. Louis is a small town, and if you ever just a big one, if you ever really question that, good Lord, look at all the overlaps in these different LLCs and charities and the 401c elemental P thing. Spencer Kymeton, I read you the email from. Guy ain't taking it. He's straight up not taking. Look, Crystal Taylor, the Greitens executive assistant, sent this to two political people. It was in an AP story. They have the email. He's saying they didn't have permission, so he's sticking strong. Rob Escovo, hey, he's going to be a player in this before it's over. He came in saying, I'm going to be tough. I'm going to be a floor that's tough. And everybody's like on the 36 Democrats. No, he's been tough, period. Yeah, no one's had a better first half of the session than Rob Escovo. Been fair, but he has been tough, and I think even on this, he's been tough. Mark Whitman, my man Will down in Springfield. He's at a correctional facility in Springfield. He was got arrested and sent to jail for embezzling from the Greitens group or one of these charitable BS things, maybe a 501c something or other. He went to jail though, and I wonder what he says. Keep in mind, I have a signed book from Eric Greitens about what a great guy I am, how nice it was to meet me, heart in the something. That guy may have some interesting stuff to say. Ron Richard, he's kind of taken a lot of. I was surprised he took Greitens stuff as well as he did. He was pretty feisty. He came back this year, and he's got a right to work election. He cares about. He's got the Southern legislative thing. I've been a little. He's acted peculiar. I would have thought he would have been more, especially on the appointment stuff, defending the Senate. So they're keep an eye on that. That's interesting. And Wagner, hey, if you're a Republican, you want to know her. I mean, cheers to her. Passed a sex trafficking bill. The governor was chasing her around, trying to get a meeting with her, getting her to sign off. It would shock me if she went against her whole career and tried to save Eric Greitens. I tend to think that she's probably not far from speaking, and when she does, if she chooses to, I doubt it is to help save him. But it shows her credibility. It shows her the fact that Republicans need women now more than ever. That he was chasing her around trying to meet with her. I think maybe her sock drawer needed sorted. Cole County prosecutor, hey, Greitens lied on the affidavit. That's maybe where that goes. Straight shooting guy. We went a little long here. I want to tell you, Tuesday, big announcement, the radio show. We may do it right here on Facebook and Twitter. This week, Senator Gina Walsh on the show, Aaron Baker, Axiom Strategies, Joe Patterson, Pat White, Angela Bingaman. Tune in if you're in St. Louis Sunday morning at 11, Kansas City at 9, throughout the state on MediaCom everywhere at 11:30 on TWMP.tv. We'll see you then. Craft Brew, Pestalozzi Street.